Friends, hello everyone. Today, I'm going to share with you one of the most important pieces of information I've ever presented. Something like this has only happened a few times, and right now is exactly one of those moments. Moreover, as I believe, higher forces played a part in making sure this information reaches you as vividly as possible, so that it stays with you for a long time and you can pass this information on to future generations. Because I don't think this will ever be officially announced or discussed anywhere. But friends, on the day I received this information, I got very deeply lost in thought, started slowly preparing the material, and then suddenly, in my own Telegram channel, The Angry Ecologist, I saw a post with the following content. Extremely curious information that deserves attention. We have several administrators who run Telegram channels, and only the next day was I able to find out who posted that video and where they got it from. It also turned out to be from one of our acquaintances who is involved in esoterics. And as it turned out, the administrator who actually posted the video had absolutely no idea that I had already received material on this topic and was already preparing it. But it worked out that this video kind of appeared as a helpful addition. That's the short introduction. Now let's watch this video for a couple of minutes, and then we'll get to the material and the explanation. Listen carefully. When a child is born, why does it emit radionuclides at birth that don't exist on Earth? There is a study on this. You can go look it up. Right? The study was conducted right here at the maternity hospital, the Central Maternity Hospital on Mendelevskaya. I simply participated in processing the materials, so a pregnant woman shows no difference in radioactivity compared to a non-pregnant person. Whether male or female, no difference at all. We emit the same radionuclides because we also carry radioactivity within us. Our Earth is radioactive, meaning we have what's called background radiation. During labor, there are electrodes. Even in the vaginal canal during birth, everything is monitored. The radioactive background doesn't change, nothing changes. The baby comes out, and the moment it takes its first breath and cries, right here, near the crown of the head, they place what's called a gamma camera. It's a radionuclide detector. For these particles, yes, for these particles, these radioactive ones. And at the moment of the first breath and cry, the baby emits 4 radionuclides that don't exist on Earth. They're only found in outer space. They go numb. 7 at 3.22, protactinium, we don't have that here, and some uranium isotope number that we don't have either. Within 5 to 20 minutes, they all disappear. If a baby is born, even if it inhales and cries but is not viable, meaning it's going to die shortly, these emissions are absent. That's just how it stands. The duty doctor says, "What are you trying to say?" That the soul enters the body through this. Who knows? There you go. Something to think about. Something to think about. Really something to think about. We watched it. Interesting. And now for the material I received and started preparing even before I saw that video. Stargates and star children. Modern research has recorded an extremely rare phenomenon. In every newborn, at the moment of birth, 4 unique radionuclides appear that are not found on Earth under natural conditions. These isotopes cannot be detected in the mother's body or in the surrounding environment. They appear strictly at the moment the fetus transitions to independent breathing and disappear within the first 5 to 20 minutes after birth. Scientists note several unusual properties of these particles. In terms of their decay energy and mass, they don't match any known radioisotope tables. Their half-life is extremely short. They exist for only a few seconds to a few minutes. After the first breath, they vanish rapidly, and within 20 minutes, they can't be detected even by the most sensitive instruments. What's particularly remarkable is that these radionuclides are only present in children who survive childbirth. In infants who never drew their first breath, they are absent. There are several scientific models that attempt to explain this phenomenon. According to the quantum biological hypothesis, the abrupt transition from placental gas exchange to pulmonary breathing triggers a cascade of reactions in which oxygen comes into contact with transitional forms of hemoglobin. In this process, short-lived isotopes previously unknown to science are released. The cosmogenic hypothesis suggests that these radionuclides don't form inside the body, but rather emerge through the interaction of the newborn's tissues with cosmic radiation in the very first seconds after emerging from the womb. Under conditions of intense ionization at the flash of life, the body may act as a catalyst for the creation of new isotopes. The genetic nuclear hypothesis links them to DNA and protein structures. When breathing is activated, these structures may trigger low-energy micronuclear reactions that produce such exotic radionuclides. While this phenomenon remains a mystery to science, many philosophers and medical anthropologists see in it not only a biological significance, but a metaphysical one as well. If life begins with the appearance of these four radionuclides, then they become a kind of ignition marker, the launch of consciousness and the presence of a soul. Their disappearance after the first breath can be seen as a sign that the body has fully received the soul. In this context, the mother truly acts as a living stargate, through which not only the body is born, but a new version of a cosmic individual is activated. Now let me clarify something, dear friends. Everyone knows that radiation exists in space throughout the entire universe. That's a fact. But interstitial radiation differs from intergalactic, interstellar, interplanetary, and planetary radiation. They all differ in composition, even though some share the same radionuclides. But each planet, each person, each planetary system, whether solar, galactic, interstellar, and so on, has its own specific radionuclides. Moving on, no human being could survive any space journey without significant changes to their genetic makeup. In other words, a person would need to be genetically modified, otherwise they would die. Even if placed in hibernation, what arrives at the destination would be a corpse. But that doesn't apply to a human. And I mean that in a specific sense. Now you might say, are you out of your mind? I just said that without genetic modification, people, regular people, yes, but a human can make such a journey without any problem. Yes, they may be ill for some time, but they will survive. And they'll be able to live comfortably in one of the planetary solar systems. No problem at all, so why can they survive? First of all, they wouldn't be traveling through open space, but through wormholes. This dramatically cuts travel time from point A to point B, and it all operates on quantum entanglement systems, on quantum dots. So the first type of space travel is wormholes. The second is stargates, through stars. Yes, stars, those luminous bodies, including our sun, are stargates. Or you could call them portals. Don't believe all those stories that say anyone who flies close to a star will burn up. It's a well-known narrative, one that's been deeply embedded in our minds. That's exactly why the Parker probe flew remarkably close to the sun, and nothing burned up. Even though by our conventional understanding, it should have been incinerated long before it got anywhere near that distance. Those in power know this, but they will never tell us. That's why the sun is called Sol Invictus. To use stargates, you need to input each person's personal frequencies at the atomic level. And then go wherever you want, whenever you want. There and back again. Travel freely. but only a person with a soul. We'll get closer to that topic very soon. Only a person who is granted a soul by the Almighty receives, at the moment of birth, 4 radionuclides that do not exist on Earth. That's what the woman in the video was talking about. There is a certain radiation background here. Humans also emit radiation, but they don't understand why. We'll figure that out together as well. When a person receives a soul, interdimensional portals open, through which the soul enters the body. During the first breath, the first cry, if you were to measure gamma radiation with a detector, you would find the following radionuclides. First, beryllium-7, sodium-22, protactinium, and uranium-777. After the first breath and first cry, within 5 to 20 minutes, half-life decay begins. Then comes the complete decay of these radionuclides. After that, it becomes impossible to isolate or identify them. There is also a fifth element. We've gone through 4 of them. Now let's talk about the fifth. At the atomic level, nanoparticles of interstellar interdimensional dust remain on the placenta, around the eyelids, on the fontanelle, around the ear, and inside the ear canal, around the lips, especially near the nasal cavity. The palms of the hands, the armpits, the lymph nodes between the legs and the groin area, on the soles of the feet. This gives us a whole new way of looking at acupuncture and the meridians of Chinese medicine. Moving on, that's why the placenta is so valuable. That's why some women are persuaded to have a C-section. That's why they then use technology to extract micro and nanoparticles of this interstellar dust from the placenta. And this interstellar, intergalactic cosmic dust, which is also radioactive, by the way, is also present in your lungs, in your soul, and in your spirit. This is the charged nuclear reactor that powers your spirit. And this is the nuclear battery, known as life energy, which will fuel you for the full decay cycle of 144 Earth years that these elements possess. In other words, your energy reserve is designed to last 144 years. If you die before that, the death is considered unnatural. Now, when a child is born, in order to create a powerful bond between mother and child, the Almighty, the cosmos, and the universe, the baby must be placed on the mother's chest, and she must gently run both her right and left hands from the forehead down to the base of the spine. In doing so, you will hold a particle of the Almighty in your hands. This establishes a quantum connection for the mother, and you will be bonded with your child like an unbreakable weld. You'll be able to communicate telepathically and truly understand your child. Even in silence, from hundreds or thousands of kilometers away, you'll always know where your child is, and the child will always know where you are and how you are. And this connection between a person, their soul, and the Almighty activates at 3:45 in the morning. The portals open, and the person once again receives this charge of radionuclides. There you have it, a true particle of God, not the particle of Satan they're chasing at the Large Hadron Collider at CERN. That's why they can't live without us, yet can't live with us either. Intergalactic, interdimensional travel is something only a human being can undertake. The moment they enter into interaction with this radioactive environment, they begin to... The reaction is triggered again, the radionuclides build back up to the required level, and the person merges and aligns with the planet's radiation background. That is how we live and exist, because these particles are present within us. Soulless people do not have this and never will, no matter what. The path of life's emergence on Earth rules out the appearance of these radionuclides. Meaning, a child who is born, takes a breath, and cries for the first time, but receives no soul, will have none of these radionuclides. The child will die. If a study were conducted, every child destined to die would be found to lack these radionuclides. There you have it, the mystery of existence. What I've just described was known long before Atlantis, millions of years ago. Now, do you understand what a human being truly is? Inside us, there's a nuclear reactor operating on principles science has yet to discover. And its fuel source, something like uranium-777, stays with you for the rest of your life. It's what sustains the energy signature of phenomena like ghosts. A ghost is simply the energetic imprint left behind by a former human being. A battery that hasn't fully burned out, so to speak. That's why humans are called the fifth element, because within us exist interdimensional particles of God. So don't think for a second that you're here by accident. And I hope it's now clear why a mother is essentially a stargate. Draw your own conclusions, dear friends, and conduct yourselves with dignity. What you've just heard is knowledge from ancient books that were burned and hidden away. Once, all people knew this. Now only a few do. Like those who collect the placenta, for instance. I think it's now clear why they do. That's the picture, dear friends. Please share what I believe is the most vital information for understanding our very existence with your friends. That's all from me for now. Thank you for watching. Wishing you a good existence.